Good evening and welcome to the August 5th, 2024 meeting of the Lower Merion Board of Commissioners. We have two meetings this evening. We have a Finance Committee meeting and a Board of Commissioners meeting. Now before we start, please silence your cell phones. There's amplifying equipment available for anyone who's having difficulty hearing. And when the floor is open for public comment, we are going to ask that comment be made first by those of you who are in the room. Then we will turn to people who are attending virtually by Zoom. And we ask if you're in the room that you use this podium to your left, to my right, and please introduce yourself before making your comments. So with that, we will start. Sorry, Jody, are we starting with Finance Committee?
Yes.
Okay, so we will start with the Finance Committee, and I recognize its chair, Commissioner Zoll.
Thank you, President Sinai. There is one item on tonight's Finance Committee meeting. It was in fact previewed last Wednesday when we had our committee meeting night. It's for the committee to consider entering into an agreement for energy supply services. Our expert is our Township Manager, Ernie McNeely, and I'll ask him to explain.
I don't know about expert, Commissioner, but this is sort of a odd way of doing proposals as opposed to what we normally do, but it has to be that way because energy suppliers won't give you a rate that's good for more than a few hours at most. But we simplified this item a little bit. Last week we told you we were soliciting quotes for electric and natural gas supply. Our electric quotes came in higher than we would have liked to have seen, so our recommendation is simply to reject the proposals we received for electric supply. Anticipation is we would go back out and do this again in September. Our current contracts go through the end of the year, so we're not under any real pressing time frame. We had a recommendation from our consultant to go out and take a look and see what we would get at this point in time, and it just didn't turn out the pricing was in anywhere near the neighborhood we'd like to see it. So we'll go back out in September if you agree with rejecting that piece of this agenda item. On the natural gas supply side, there we do have a recommendation to award the contract to UGI Energy for a 24-month term. This all looks very complicated, but because natural gas, there's two pieces to it. There's the basis, which is kind of what you see on your bid tab, if you will, that clearly shows we're actually paying a higher basis than we did in the contract that's expiring. However, the other bigger piece of the natural gas supply is NYMEX, which is the actual supply of the gas coming up to us from Louisiana. That pricing is right now in our favor, but you need to approve the basis price before we can lock in a NYMEX price for either 12 or 24 months. And the thought is we'll probably want to lock for 24 months because currently the pricing shows that we'll be locking in a price that will at least keep us even with what we're currently paying and perhaps even lower. Nothing will be absolutely fixed until after you act here tonight, and then I go back to the consultant tomorrow and we refresh our pricing and see exactly where it's at. The hope is the basis price that you're looking at will be at or around what UGI has submitted. We have put on your agenda that it would be a price not to exceed a 0.9. Their proposal is actually slightly less than that for the 24-month price. So if they would happen to come in higher than that, we would reject their bid tomorrow. But we'll also refresh our NYMEX pricing, and if both look good, we'll lock in for likely a 24-month period and ensure that our budget will not take a hit from natural gas pricing going forward. Be glad to answer any questions.
Before we go to questions, I'm going to put a motion on the floor in order to facilitate our discussion. I will move that the Finance Committee recommend to the Board of Commissioners authorizing the Township Manager to reject proposals received for the purchase of electricity supply and to accept a proposal for natural gas services for Township facilities from UGI Energy Services for a 24-month term. Do I have a second? I do from Commissioner Sean Whalen. So with that, the motion's been made and seconded. Well, let's start with any public comment. Is there any public comment from anyone in the room? Seeing none, Jody, is there any public comment from anyone who is watching via Zoom?
There are no attendees on Zoom.
There is not, okay. Do committee members have any questions or comments?
I have a question.
Yes, Commissioner Bernhardt.
Yeah, thank you. In the motion, do we need to include that not to exceed price? That our township manager.
It could hurt to
just
include the basis of not to exceed .9.
So what is your friendly amendment that you would like to add, Commissioner Bernhardt?
To include to the motion that you just had, that in reference to the gas, it shall not exceed the price point of, what's it, .9?
Correct.
0.9 per.
I think it's per DTH.
Like a third.
Okay, yes, that is a friendly, accepted as a amendment to the motion in a friendly manner, so no vote needed. At least no vote needed on the amendment. So, any other comments or questions from committee members? President Sinai.
Thank you. So Commissioner Burnham had half of what I was going to ask. The second was the basis is not the only element that fluctuates, right? NYMEX also fluctuates. Do we need it not to exceed on the NYMEX?
We do not. Well, we will actually lock a price in on the NYMEX based on where it's at tomorrow.
Okay,
If it has moved against us, we'll basically say, never mind,
I see.
and we won't go forward. But if the NYMEX stays approximately where it's at, based on the bids, the proposals we took in Friday and then re-looked at again today, then we will go ahead and lock.
Okay, and the other question I had is, so the NYMEX price plus the basis, those two things get added together. Those two together are going to be lower than what we're currently paying, I believe.
That's correct.
The total spend is higher, and that's because PICO is going to be charging a higher distribution rate going forward?
Yes, PICO
Okay.
is raising their rates in addition to the NYMEX price and the basis.
Okay, and that has nothing to do with the timing of this decision, that's just them
It does not.
doing that. So this actually lowers our per unit cost per natural gas if we do this.
Correct.
Thank you.
Other committee members with questions or comments? Seeing none, it looks like that competition for natural gas supplies is working. We're going to see a lower rate in what's proposed. The motion has been made, amended, and seconded. By the way, does the seconder accept the friendly amendment?
He does.
Excellent. All those in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? Commissioner Stevenson, was that an aye? An aye, okay. Any abstentions? Madam Secretary, that motion passes unanimously. And President Sinai, that's the business for tonight for the Finance Committee.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Zoll. So with that, we'll turn to our Board of Commissioners meeting. And will the August 5th, 2024 meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Lower Merion please come to order? All please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Gabbard and Dr. Rossman have asked to be excused. Mr. Courtney indicated that he may be late. Mr. Bernheim.
Present.
Mr. Churchill.
Here.
Ms. Epstein.
Present.
Mr. Grimes.
Here.
Ms. S. Kramer.
Here.
Ms. G. Kramer. Here. Mr. Stevenson. Mr. Whalen.
Here.
Mr. Woodring.
Here.
Mr. Zillow.
Here.
Mr. Sinai.
Here.
Mr. President, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. A few announcements. The board met in executive session earlier this evening regarding the following matters: an update on some arbitration, a chief technology officer search, and litigation about billboards. National Night Out will be held on Tuesday, August 6, 2024, from 6 p.m. until 9 p.m. in the parking lot of the Wynwood Shopping Center. Now, the Board of Commissioners will be in recess from August 6, 2024 until September 4th, 2024. That means we will be not having our evening meetings. It does not mean that your local representative is not hard at work. They will be hard at work all the way through August.
Sure.
Thank you. The board, Monday, September 2nd, 2024, Labor Day is a legal holiday. The Township Administration Building and libraries will be closed, and there will be no refuse or recycling collection. And the 2024 Budget Workshop will be held on Wednesday, September 4th, 2024, at 6 p.m. That is the meeting that we return to. So this is now the section of our meeting where members of the public may address the board on any non-agenda items or any other public matters in which the township has jurisdiction or authority. I see someone here. We ask that you come to this podium. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less, and please introduce yourself before you start.
Thank you. My name is Leah Charleston, and I live in Penn Valley. I'm representing the Rotary Club of the Lower Main Line. We do good things for good people all around the world. Now we have a new international president who has created and built these poles. And I don't have the magazine with me. My assistant is on her way. They are poles, and they say, peace, may there be peace in the world. And there are 4 corners of the pole, and you can have 4 different languages. You can choose to have English on all 4 poles, or we can choose to have 4 different countries represented. And that's for the residents of this township to see this pole. It's a beautiful white pole, and we would like to place it someplace in Lower Merion. If we could place it at the park, or there are different places that we have suggested to place it. I'm here to get permission to be able to do that.
Okay, thank you. So we generally respond to comments after everyone's had the opportunity to make comments.
Okay.
That may be just you, but for now,
Okay.
thank you, and
Okay. So
we'll
just
turn
sit
to
down.
see if there's anyone else.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else wish to take advantage of public privilege? Jody, still no one online. I thought so. Does anyone wish to respond to the? I will start. So thank you very much for the offer. We certainly can't reply in real time tonight. We have our township manager here. Maybe at the end of the meeting, because I think it's going to be quite short, we can get a little more information and put you in contact, and we can start a discussion about that. And thank you for that generous thoughtfulness. And your
They have a Zoom at my office at 10 to 8.
okay, you will have no problem.
Okay.
Commissioner Churchill.
Doesn't the Rotary sponsor the Sensory Garden in Pinwin?
It might, I'm not aware of it.
I would just a suggestion.
Okay.
Okay.
And can you repeat that?
So I'm going to. I mean, thank you very much for being here. We try not to have these conversations tonight. Since it's August, it's a little lax, but we'll try. We'll keep this a little more formal. Anyone else wish to respond to public privilege? Okay, seeing none. We are now on to public comment, which is a section of our meeting where members of the public may address the board on any agenda items. Anyone in this room wish to take advantage of public comment? Okay, seeing none. Jody's still not online. Okay. So we are going to move on to the consent calendar. Does anyone want to remove any item from the consent calendar? Okay, so I'm going to move that we approve the consent calendar as presented, and including the item from the Finance Committee that we just voted for unanimously. Do I need a second?
Yes.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
For the adoption of the consent calendar, Mr. Bernheim.
Aye.
Mr. Churchill.
Yes.
Ms. Epstein.
Yes.
Mr. Grimes.
Yes.
Ms. S. Kramer.
Yes.
Ms. G. Kramer.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson. Mr. Whalen.
Yes.
Mr. Woodring.
Yes.
Mr. Zelloff.
Aye.
Mr. Sinai.
Yes.
The consent calendar is duly adopted.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Is there any unfinished business to come before the board? Okay. I know we have some new business. Commissioner Zelloff.
Thank you, President Sinai. On Saturday, September 7th, please mark your calendars. It will be Bryn Mawr Day. It's an annual event in our community. It is a family fun day. It's the Saturday after Labor Day, and everyone's back after whether they've been working hard during the summer or able to get away for vacation. School is back in session. Bryn Mawr Day is in the parking lot across from Ludington Library and across from Wisfis Bank. It is a free event. There's free parking. There's lots of entertainment. There are fire truck rides from the Bryn Mawr Fire Company. There's a petting zoo sponsored by the trustees at Ludington Library. There's lots of music, some school a cappella groups, as well as Wolf Performing Arts Center. The Little Circus performs. The Farmers Market, that's the parking lot where the Farmers Market is located. That's open the entire time of Bryn Mawr Day. And the stores and restaurants in Bryn Mawr will have tables set up so that you can find out more about them. So that's Saturday, September 7th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. In the heart of Bryn Mawr. I hope you all will be able to attend. Thank you, President Simon.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Zoloff. Does anyone else have new business? Seeing none, this meeting is hereby adjourned.